Putin calls out the United States for their sins all the time. All the time. Like, I remember during the George Floyd protest, and there's something else the right wing got to reconcile themselves with. Yeah, Putin that was critical of George Floyd's murder. He was like, you guys are calling Russia evil, but you guys just executed George Floyd, and now people are upset about it, and you guys stick to police state and tear gassing us, but you guys want to judge us? You guys allow your people to live homeless? Like he knows the United States more than the corporate media does. He's an expert at exposing the contradictions of the West. That's why they never, ever show clips of him. He's great at dismantling neoliberal bullshit. So this is him calling out the United States and saying, why aren't you guys worried about your own fucking country? Why are you guys so worried about Ukraine? So let's watch this clip. It's another important one. At this point, I'm going to show you guys the clip I believe are must watch. So here's another one.
Tomorrow, Russia will use tactical nuclear weapons. Tomorrow, Russia will use that. No, the day after tomorrow. So what? In order to extort additional money from US taxpayers and European taxpayers in the confrontation with Russia in the Ukrainian theater of war. The goal is to weaken Russia as much as possible.
One of our senior United States senators from the state of New York, Chuck Schumer, said yesterday, I believe, that we have to continue to fund the Ukrainian effort, or U.S. soldiers, citizens could wind up fighting there. How do you assess that?
This is a provocation, and a cheap provocation at that. I do not understand why American soldiers should fight in Ukraine. There are mercenaries from the United States there. The bigger number of mercenaries comes from Poland, with mercenaries from the United States in second place and mercenaries from Georgia in third place. Well, if somebody has the desire to send regular troops, that would certainly bring humanity to the brink of very serious global conflict. This is obvious. Do the United States need this? What for? Thousands of miles away from your national territory. Don't you have anything better to do? You have issues on the border, issues with migration, issues with the national debt, more than $33 trillion. You have nothing better to do, so you should fight in Ukraine?
Now you guys see why CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post will never sit down with Putin and challenge him on this stuff. Can you imagine Putin dropping this truth bomb on CNN? They will cut that shit immediately. They might cut to commercial if it's live. If it's not live, they're not airing that part. Do you guys? This is why Putin is a threat to the West. This is the reason why Putin has a approval rating of 80% plus in Russia. This is the leader that the Russian people want to follow because he knows his shit. He knows the enemy he's fighting, and he knows the strategy to defeat them. With BRICS and with the global alliances that Russia is carving out with China, there are a giant threat to the West, which is why you saw that meltdown in the intro of this video. In the very intro of this video, I'll show you guys the meltdown, the reaction to this interview. And now that we're almost 2 hours in, and now that you guys seen all these clips, now do you guys see why they're upset? They wasn't upset because Putin was going to lie. Where's the lie that Putin has told thus far? What lie did he tell about the United States? Let me put it like this. What lie did he tell about the United States? Not a goddamn one. But they want us to believe that they didn't want the interview to happen because Putin's going to spread misinformation. No, Putin wasn't going to spread misinformation. Putin was going to say exactly this. Why are you guys so worried about funding Ukraine when you guys have all these crises in your country? That's a devastating message that would reach even the most shittiest of shit libs. You know what I mean? Obviously, the partisans going to close their ears. Obviously, the people who are bad faith not going to change. But even the shittiest of shit libs will see this, who are good faith, they will see this and they're like, God damn, this motherfucker got a point. which is why it's fucking devastating to the West that this interview happened. Let's continue.
Wouldn't it be better to negotiate with Russia, make an agreement, already understanding the situation that is developing today, realizing that Russia will fight for its interests to the end? And realizing this, actually return to common sense, start respecting our country and its interests, and look for certain solutions. It seems to me that this is much smarter and more rational.
I'll read this comment I see on Venmo. I saw someone ask me, do we read Venmo comments? I'm like, yeah. We don't get a ton of them, but thank you, Mario. He said, Nick killed it with the Tucker Putin interview coverage tonight. Always great analysis. Big shout out to Mario. Thank you for the kind words. What I'm doing live right now, essentially what I'll be doing if I wasn't live anyway, I'll be watching this shit geeking out. You guys know I'm a fucking nerd at the end of the day. So that's why this Nick at Night is extremely long tonight, because this is what I'll be doing even if I wasn't live right now. I'll be fucking analyzing every bit of this fucking interview. I'm pretty obsessed nowadays with this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Putin on NATO expansionism. Just for the sake of time, I'll just read this part if you guys don't mind. I'll read this part and I'll go to the next clip. Here's what Putin said on NATO expansionism. Russia even agreed voluntarily and proactively to collapse the Soviet Union and believe that this would be understood by the so-called civilized West as an invitation for cooperation and association. That is what Russia was expecting both from the United States and the so-called collective West, but NATO needs to expand, yet NATO expanded eastward 5 times. That's what Hotspot added. I think he probably made a point in a clip we seen earlier, but that right here should be a headline as well. The fact that Russia wanted to be friends with the West, that he thought the objection of the West was ideological. So once they got rid of the Soviet Union, Russia was shocked that there was no change. Putin explains what happened next after NATO set its eyes on Russia and opened the door for Ukraine in 2008. Let's watch
So in 2008, the doors of NATO were opened for Ukraine. In 2014, there was a coup. They started persecuting those who did not accept the coup, and it was indeed a coup. They created a threat to Crimea, which we had to take under our protection. They launched the war in Donbass in 2014 with the use of aircraft and artillery against civilians. This is when it all started. There's a video of aircraft attacking Donetsk from above. They launched a large-scale military operation, then another one. When they failed, they started to prepare the next one. All this against the background of military development of this territory and opening of NATO's doors.